Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, Heavenly Enlightened. This is episode 7, part 2. Um, Last episode we ended with Miss M,
Yes.
and now for this week we are going to be talking about Miss M and Miss I and whatever else.
Yeah. Oh, Miss M. Miss M, I got words for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So, to put it into the timeline, this was after that 8 years with that foster parents. They were Wendy was very vocal. Wendy's always been very vocal. But we had a lawyer back then, and Wendy basically told the lawyer everything that was happening. The lawyer understood that it wasn't right, and so she fought for us on her end, which Miss P, if you're hearing this, I take everything that I ever said about you back. You saved my life. I was so brainwashed back then, so I thought that you were a horrible human being to rip me from the family that I've had ever known. But that being said, Miss P put in a court order, and the court basically ordered for me and Wendy to be removed from that long-term foster parents and placed into Mrs. M's household.
You know what's crazy? A little fact. I don't know if you knew this or not, but we were actually the first foster home. We were actually their first kids and their last foster kids they ever.
Oh, took in?
Because I
Oh.
think after that they ended up taking their license.
I didn't know that. Well, I could understand why
It was
now.
a lot.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
a
it
lot.
was a lot. They were good people at the end of the day, but with really bad way of parenting. And so again, that's why I say Miss P. If I take everything back that I ever said. I was so brainwashed. But Miss M, what do you remember about Miss M?
I'm happy to kick this off because I feel like the
Wayne's like,
transition.
I got a lot to say.
Yeah.
Let me put on my.
The transition of it would be a lot clearer too. So after we had moved, I believe before we left, either you were even given were you given a phone?
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a situation between you and the foster dad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what it was?
Between.
I think it was the Snapchat dog filter thing.
Okay,
Something.
yeah. So Snapchat has this really cute little filter back then. It was
It's
so
like
popular.
2015 dog
It
filter.
was so popular. It would have the little ears, and then you would open your mouth and it'd stick out its tongue. It was so cute. But what about that incident?
So basically, at our first foster home, we were very sheltered.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they probably meant well and they just wanted to protect us because they saw us like as their daughters, loved us, and just,
Yeah.
wanted to cover our eyes. But they were also very like, I don't know, they really read too deep into this situation. Did you want to go a little bit further and explain the actual situation that I'm talking about?
Yeah. So it was basically like we had mentioned, like the Snapchat filter with the dog was super popular back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had finally given me like this used LG.
Chafa phone. That was
Yeah.
like what we used to call it.
Yeah, the Chafa phone that had like a touch screen, but it was so outdated. He had given it to me, and obviously I downloaded Snapchat, and we were playing with filters, and I had aimed the camera at him with the dog filter, and I recorded the video, and it obviously I thought it was so funny. It was like he funny type of things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I showed him the video, he completely like got upset about it.
He just like blew it out of proportion.
Yeah, he was just saying like, why would you do that? Like, you're calling me in Spanish a female bad word of a dog. I don't even want to say it because
A female dog. Think of the bad word for the female dog. Now convert that into Spanish term. Right?
yeah. So he was just basically saying like that's what I was saying or
He
thinking
was.
of. Yeah, he was, or thinking of him like that, using that filter. And so we had just gotten into a big argument.
And that was freshly after we had moved, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was the situation, and then came so at this point, because they were arguing, I was still very much in my head like, this is my family, I grew up with them majority of my life, like, I'm gonna defend them. She was getting into it with them. I didn't have a phone. The issue wasn't with me, it was between them two. At that age, I didn't understand that he was over exaggerating. I just, like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was on his side. Like, I wasn't talking bad about him. I wasn't, that was kind of like where I was standing at.
Mm-hmm.
And in all of this, I believe you got comfortable, or you started talking to Miss M, our second foster home, about the issue. I don't know how it is that she found out about it.
Yeah.
But I remember it was a 2-story house, and I was upstairs, and I can overhear you guys. It was a conversation between you, her, and her husband, and you guys were talking about the situation, and she had made a reference again. I get what you're trying to say, but your delivery.
Mm.
And yeah, I had basically heard her say, like, like, that's your old family, like, now you're at this home, like, basically it's time, like, basically let go of that house is what she was trying to say, but what
Mm-hmm.
she actually said was, like, this is a new chapter, this is a new home, like, it's time to throw the garbage out, or it's time to throw the trash out.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I understand what your point was, basically saying let's move forward, if it's not a benefiting relationship, then it's okay to leave things in the
Yeah.
past. But again, I'm very defensive because this is my family, and I don't care if you mean it in the raw way of referring to them as trash,
Mm-hmm.
or you're just using that as an example, and that's just the first terrible example that came into your brain. But when she said that, I was already in, like I said, that was freshly moving into that household,
Yeah, into foster home M.
and it was already an adjustment because we were so used to this one house. Even though we left and came back, we were so used to that house. Then we got, like, ripped apart, and now we're at this lady's house, and this lady that I don't know, that don't know me, that doesn't know them, is over
Mm-hmm.
here referring to my family as trash. Now I have an issue. So since the beginning, I never got along with her.
Yeah.
And when I had, like, I think I told the worker, I told her or something like that, because she noticed, like, I wasn't coming around, and I think I had given my reason. She always said, like, oh, it's because Wendy has this wall up, it's because of that reason. Like, you're not gonna sit here and disrespect my people and think I'm just gonna be okay with it. Like, you don't
Yeah.
know them.
And it's crazy, like, how, because obviously in part one of this episode, like, behind closed doors,
Mhm.
we talk about, like, the negative aspects of that foster family, yet
Mhm.
we uphold them because they were our family. They
Mhm.
are our family. Like, they made some mistakes, and their parenting, like I said it in that other episode, was horrible parenting, horrible way of coming about things, but good people.
Mhm.
And just to hear Foster M kind of like take, like, the delivery wasn't good.
Mhm.
Like, the intention behind it might have been good, but the delivery of it was really bad, and it really affected you and the way you viewed um foster home M. So
Mhm.
foster mom M. So uh yeah.
Let's see your experiences, or your experience if you have one from her.
Uh I don't got along with foster mom M. She was good. Like, it was different. Like, yeah, it was just a different relationship. Like, it was what?
You have contacts in?
No.
Look that way. Sister, your eyes are really light. Like, you have,
Oh.
like, light brown eyes.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that's pretty. I was like, does she have contacts in?
Well, that was
Okay,
nice of
sorry.
you.
You're
So,
welcome.
another side note.
There you go. Sorry. Cause I
I
was
was
just
like, you
like,
scared me. I'm
huh.
like, what do I have in my face?
No. Sorry. Okay, uh-huh.
So I didn't have really bad experience with foster mom M. Um, the only experience I have two,
Mhm.
and this is when I moved out, and then but this one's more. She took us on a cruise ship.
Mm.
I
I
If you've
remember.
never been on a cruise, get on a cruise because the food is delicious. Besides the point, another side note, but she took us on a cruise, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that cruise. It was really fun. But the thing that you came and told me, so this is why the cruise is very like prominent to the situation, because you had came and told me that as foster children we get allowances, and I was like, hmm, I didn't know that. Like, when did we ever get money from our foster homes? So I was like, okay, how did you come about? Because the cruise is a very crucial point to this story.
So like I said, if something's not right, baby, I'm gonna get on it, and if something's not right, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna figure out what's going on. So basically, I was at a respite. Respite is another word for like
Short-term placement when a foster
when your foster parent
yeah,
is
when
out.
your foster parent is going on vacation and they can't bring you. So it's like a temporary short-term placement. Psalms is also being taken care of.
Yeah, he's right here, and he's playing with the pee pads like they were free. Why are you playing with them like they're toys? That's crazy. He's like, okay, it's okay.
So the allowance, how'd you come about it?
Yeah, so basically I was at a respite, and later on it becomes one of her
Permanent
permanent
foster
foster
homes.
homes. But at that time it wasn't, it was just a respite. So I went
Which we
there.
can say her name because she's been telling me that if she ever wants to be interviewed, she'd be down to interview.
Oh,
So my foster mom is Marcy, and Marcy, I know you'll be watching this because she watches it. She has watched every single one of our episodes.
oh,
And so Marcy, just a little shout out. We love you so much. I love you so
yes,
much. So,
you were the person that opened my eyes.
and Wendy put her 2 cents
Yeah.
right then into discovering this allowance. So
So
Marcy.
so Marcy, she was a foster parent, and so she had her kids, and there was two young ones, and I remember like we were at Target, and I remember hearing her say like, "Oh, like you guys have an allowance, like you guys can get a toy each or like whatever it is." And they were like kids, so I'm like, "Okay, we didn't get that. Like we didn't get to buy toys. Like we didn't have toys." So I'm like, I think I asked her, and she ends up telling me like, "Oh, you didn't know, like you according to your age, depending on your age is how much you get, and it should be either in a monthly thing or it should be like a biweekly thing." So I'm like, "No." I was like, I was never informed this. And because she was through the same agency, the FFA, I was like, okay, so she was able to show me this binder, and in the binder it basically was a chart that said like, ages 0 to whatever, like get this allowance or like whatever, and teenagers get this much, and it goes up every other year that you age.
Yeah.
And so, I forget how much it was, but I'm assuming maybe 20, maybe 25 was our allowance at the time. And so I'm like, oh, like, so that's how I find out. I go back home and we're living together at Miss M's house, and foster M. And I don't know, I just kind of basically like told you like, "Oh, did you know like we were supposed to be getting paid and we never got paid?" And I think you were like, "No, like I don't recall this, or what are you talking about?"
Yeah, it was newsflash to me.
I was like, "Yeah." And what I decided to, I was excited because, like I said, like we never had anything like I said in the last episode, like all our things that we loved and we wanted, like they were taken away from us, right? When we would get disciplined or whatever. But like having your money and being able to be like, I bought that. Who's gonna take this from me? You know what I mean? It's different. Or just having the freedom of like going to the vending machine and get a snack or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I remember I pulled out my calculator real quick and I started doing the math. Like, okay, we've been here for how many years or like how many months,
Yeah, it
and
was
we were
months.
supposed to be getting this much.
Yeah.
So I made the calculations and I spoke to my social worker because, like I said, I knew that I needed to be getting a bag. And you mean to tell me where's this money going? That means you kept it. And like I said, from the beginning, she laid in
She
the
was treading
bed.
on waters.
Yeah, you were already on thin ice because of
Yeah.
what you said. And now, I mean, it's nothing against you. It's not like I was attacking you
Yeah.
or your pockets, because technically that was money for us.
Yeah.
But she didn't like it. I told the social worker, and basically she had gotten upset and said
that basically the money or allowance went all for that cruise ship that she paid for. And I was like, wait a minute. I would have, and it wasn't that, like I said it from the very beginning when I shared the story. I love the cruise. It was so much fun. But I think I would have loved the say of, hey, you can go on this cruise, but I'm going to have to use your allowance money to pay for your ticket. You have the option of either not going on the cruise with us, or you can get your, like, whatever I owe you for your allowance. Like, I would have loved to have been given that option. So yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way. It was like, okay, so you did it kind of behind my back. Like, it wasn't.
And we were supposed to be okay with it.
Yeah, also because she made it seem like she did it out of the gracious of her heart.
That we
And
didn't
so I
have
was
to.
like, oh my gosh, like, she's taking me on a cruise. Like, this is my first time going on a cruise. Like, I just upheld her because it's like, I've never gotten any of these experiences. So to hear like, oh no, actually, I kind of like sideswiped you in a way and took your money and paid for your ticket with your own money that you should have gotten. Yeah, it was kind of bummy.
Yeah. And Daisy said, you know, she had a ball. The experience was great. I had a somewhat decent, like, I love going to like places that have history and like visiting Alcatraz before it shut down. Oh my
gosh.
10 out of 10.
Alcatraz. 10 out of 10. The history, the headphones, listening to it, going around.
And going. That was an experience in itself. So that was like
and I think
the
I still
best
got
part.
videos, so if I could find some,
You do?
I think so. I think I'll put some on because
Oh my
it was
god.
10 out of 10.
It just lives in my
San
memory.
Francisco, you got a place for my heart. Though I do got to get, you must be fit out there because those hills.
Oh yeah.
Those hills are tremendous.
I still have the ticket.
Of Alcatraz?
And it has the date and everything.
Okay, so take a picture and we can put it up here. Okay.
So yeah, so that was like the best part of the experience, but I get motion sickness. Like before, I would get like car sick very bad.
Oh yeah.
So really, to me, had you given me the option of going on this freaking cruise that I was sick in, like I literally threw up. I threw up. And I was sick. I think one of the dinners I didn't even go to.
Yeah, she was
because
like,
I was like
sick.
Yeah, so what do you mean? I would have wanted my money instead of going on the cruise.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, we were already not getting along, me and her, because of the beginning.
Yeah.
And then with this, like her finding out that I'm over here making calculations, it triggered her to be like, okay, you guys want your allowance? Fine. But basically, you guys are going to have to do chores. And by the end of the month, I'm going to mark it off. And if you're, I think it was like 3 chores a week. So 3, 6, 9, 12. If your 12 chores weren't done in that month, then you weren't going to get your allowance.
Oh
and
yeah.
She would sign off on it and like all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah, she got, I was gonna say something inappropriate, but she had a stick up her you know where.
Yeah.
And just became like very controlling.
Angry at the fact that we found out that hey, we are entitled to some money.
Yeah. I would have wondered like how far she'd go. Like, would she have kept the money to herself?
I think so, because that lady would go on freaking shopping sprees. Okay, do you remember her closet?
Yes.
Her poor husband had probably like literally the crumbs of the closet. He had the corner of the closet, and this lady had. That's crazy.
I can't even say anything about that part though, because Stephanie's got the crumbs of the closet. Stephanie's got a little corner.
But do you remember her stuff? Like she would ask us to help us organize it. You don't remember going into her closet and it was like
it was a walk-in closet.
Yeah.
No? Yes.
And there was literally no space. Like you couldn't even like, you know, when you go to see a shirt, you couldn't even like have space to open it because it was just so packed. On top, on the racks, she had like bags and she was just so honestly,
you think she would have kept that money to herself?
I don't know.
Shout out to Marcy. Marcy, you
were doing the right thing.
One thing about Wendy was ain't nobody gonna take her bag. She's out there looking for her bag. She gonna grab it.
I mean, it was that, and then too, like if I'm already dealing with this stuff, like, and I'm
at least get compensated.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'm not struggling for free, please. Please, please.
I love that. Not struggling for free. Period.
Mm.
All right. Yeah, that's the only instance that I was just like, I kind of looked at her like sideways, like I would have loved to have the option.
Yeah.
Like, dang. And when were you gonna tell me that I had an allowance? Like,
and then too, I didn't like the fact that even though she was like, "Oh, you guys have to do chores to get paid,"
that was out of
technically,
pettiness.
yeah, because
100%.
it never said that. That was money that no matter what, we had to get that money because that was part of the check that she would get.
Mm-hmm.
Our allowance would come out of it. So technically, we didn't have to work for nothing.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
straight up
already given
money.
to
Yeah.
us. But it was like a power trip, and I feel like in a lot of foster homes, unfortunately, the adults tend to pull that card when they feel like the child is testing them, when really all I'm doing is doing the right thing. You're the one in the wrong, and now you're mad that you got caught.
This is why we say just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you know everything and
That you'll do better,
yeah,
and
that
that
you
you'll know better.
yeah, exactly. So, so we talked about the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
What was another experience that you had with foster mom M?
So, yeah. Basically, after my sister had left, this is
Oh, so maybe we should be save that till last. So I can explain my thing once I left.
okay. So yeah, so then you go first.
Yes, so
Okay,
let me
okay,
go
okay.
first. Don't worry, what is more juicy than mine
But it's so you
is.
guys can understand the timing of
Yes.
it. Mm-hmm.
So I had decided after living there with a couple of months with
Maria.
foster mom M that I needed a break and that I needed space away from Wendy. Like me and Wendy, you got to understand that this is not only are we sisters, but we've
Mm-hmm.
gone through so much trauma together that it wasn't benefiting our relationship whatsoever. Like now we're close, but back then we hated each other's guts. Like I couldn't stand Wendy. Wendy would try, but I just wasn't giving her anything. Like we just had a really hard relationship. Like really,
That, and I
yeah.
think the foster parents, we didn't touch on it too much, but the foster parents would
Pin us
kind of like
against each
pin
other.
us against each other. So with the trauma and then like that built anger and like
Mhm.
almost feeling like we're in competition with each other for whatever it is, like,
Mhm.
and then just the fact that we're girls and we're siblings, like, it's a lot of things that played into it. So
Yeah.
because of all of that, space was very much needed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So space was indeed very much needed,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided that I just needed some space. I needed to go out there and figure out and heal and just figure myself out. Like I was just holding on to so much anger and resentment, and it was directed towards Wendy and it wasn't deserved at
Mm-hmm.
all. So I decided that I wanted to leave, and we had been put into a respite. And this is very important. We were put into a respite because foster mom M was off on a vacation. And this was like a foster home in Fullerton.
No, I don't think it was respect. They were planning on moving me,
Oh.
and
Oh,
you
yes.
decided to come along.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So we had been testing out this
Mhm.
home basically to
Mhm.
see if it was a good fit. And I really liked the house. It reminded me a lot about like our first foster parents, like traditional little Mexican household. And this mom, and obviously we grew up in La Habra, so my friends were closer it, in Fullerton to that house compared to Moreno Valley where foster
Mm.
mom M was. So I just was like creating this illusion of this could really be good for me. Like I'd
Mhm.
have friends close by, you know? And I like the idea also to just maybe be by myself,
Mhm.
and I like the idea of just separating for a little bit.
Mhm.
So we this foster mom had two older daughters of hers,
Mhm.
and the daughters were very jealous in the like 3 days that we were there.
Mhm.
Very jealous. Oh, can I just say something side note? If you have a mom who is willing to take in foster kids and you are jealous of that kid, check yourself. check yourself, check yourself, check yourself, because that's ugly. This kid is literally bouncing from foster home to foster home with strangers, and your mom is willing to open up her doors to these kids who have experienced trauma. And I get the jealousy, but that's always going to be your mom. Always going to be your mom. We cannot take that title from her.
9 times out of 10 we're not trying to.
Yeah, like we just want a safe place to be loved and taken care for. Like we're not trying to replace you in any way. So if that's the mentality, and these girls were older too. They were 17, 18-year-olds. Like they were older.
Yeah. And I think that's why she wanted to go into the foster system,
Yeah,
because she
because her
was
kids
like
were older.
her kids were older already.
Yeah. So honestly, if that's, yeah, just check yourself. But anyway, so the lady was getting really like se estaba encariñando con nosotros. Like she was getting very
caring.
yeah, like starting to grow care for us, you know? And the daughters did not like that. And so it was basically the daughters who said no. Yeah. We don't want them here. And that was the first time in my life where I felt like a piece of furniture. Like I could easily be moved to one location and discarded like nothing. So after I felt that discardment of like I'm just either a check for people or just furniture to people, like I decided that I just wanted my space. Like I just wanted to be by myself. So I talked to my social workers and I basically said like, hey, I think I want to separate from you, from Wendy, and I think it'd be good for me. I'm like I just want to go out there and be by myself. And my social workers agreed. They were like, okay, yeah, of course. Looking into foster homes for me. Obviously, foster mom M was then told. Foster mom M, oh my goodness, it wasn't even about you, and you made it about you. She became like, she just would tell me like, I remember like sitting when they finally found a home for me, she would just be like, but like, why do you have to leave? Like, there's like, but you're like good here, I don't understand. And it was, and as much as I would try to tell her like, it's not you, it's just I need space from Wendy, she just would not see it past like anything but her and her. And it was just like the last day that we were there, she had a mutual friend, she had friends that had
you were there.
Yes, that I was there. So she had these group of friends that had a rancho, so a ranch with like horses and stuff, and we would often spend a little bit of time with these friends. Like they became really close to us and we became very close to them. And the guy of her friend had given me his old iPhone. And so I had used that phone and everything was good. So on my last day with foster mom M, mind you, she hadn't paid for that phone. That phone was given to me. I felt like she just wanted to be very vindictive and wanted to have like the last laugh. I had done nothing to this woman and she wanted to hurt me. Like I had, and you can testify to this, like I was the yes man for many of the foster homes.
And that's why she had an issue with you leaving, because she was like, oh, like she's so good, like she's good in school, like I don't understand. It's not for you to understand. She just doesn't want to be here.
Yeah. So I was just like, I had done nothing but be nice to this woman. Like I was listening to her rules, I abided by her rules. We had a curfew. I would sleep and put away our phones by that time. Respectful. I never once like questioned her on anything. Like I had done everything to be good to this woman, and for her to be vindictive and hurt me to the end was like crazy to me. So we had a casa at the time, and a casa for audiences is basically like a court appointed, there's an SA and I don't remember what it is, but basically like a friend,
a mentor,
there we go, that comes out, takes you out, you get to do whatever you want, like you know, and mentors you along the way of just like listening to you and giving you advice, whatever. So my casa had come to pick me up from foster mom's M's to move me into my new foster home. And we were upstairs because it was a two-story household, a two-story home.
Mm-hmm.
I was upstairs. My bedroom was upstairs, and I was grabbing the last of my things. And foster mom comes in, and she opens the door super loudly. And I jolt, and I look over, and she's like, "Oh, so and so is here to pick you up." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm grabbing the last of my things. Like, I'm excited for this new chapter in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were just struggling, me and you, a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And so I'm excited. And she decides to rain on my parade. She's like, "Oh, where are you going with that phone?" And I'm looking at her like, "With my phone? Like, this is my phone." And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "That's my phone. I paid for that phone." She paid for the line. Calm down, woman. And I was like, "No, you didn't." And she's like, "Yes, I did. You're not going anywhere with that phone." And I'm like, I'm looking at this woman, this grown woman, like, "What are you talking about right now?" And she's like, "You're not going anywhere with that phone that I paid for." And I was like, "No." So I called her friend that had given me the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and he's on speaker, and I'm like, "She's trying to take away my phone. Like, tell her, like, this is my phone. You gave me this phone." And so he's on the phone, literally on speaker, telling her, like, "What are you talking about? I gave her the phone. You have no right to take that phone from her." This woman is like not budging. Like, she's like, "No, no, no, no." Mind you, these are her friends that she's arguing with. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what the heck? She's arguing with this man, and this man's telling her, "That's not your phone. I gave it to her, blah, 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 blah." She won't budge. I click on the line. So then I call my social worker,
Mm-hmm.
and she chased me. This grown woman chased me all the way downstairs to the front door. My COS was waiting for me, and I'm on the phone with my social worker, and I'm telling my social worker, "Foster mom M is trying to take my phone. Like, this is my phone, and I don't understand why she's trying to take my phone."
Mm-hmm.
And the social worker's like trying to reason with this foster mom. Won't. She won't. "Nope, that's my phone. She's not going anywhere with that. My phone. That's my phone. I paid for it. She's not leaving this house with that phone." I was like, sister, I was so like hurt, because I was like, I've been nothing but good to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna make me be my last couple of like minutes with you be this like horrible, this horrible
Because you
experience.
didn't get what you wanted, which is me in your house.
Yeah. Anyway, at some point I was just like, my social worker on the phone was just give it to her. I My husband is he's gonna get a new phone soon. I'll give you a new phone in a couple of weeks. And I was just like, I felt so hopeless. What I should have done was I should have thrown that phone. And he's like, "Here's your cracked phone. Good luck," and left. Right then and there, I should have thrown that phone on the. I should thrown it right there on the floor. But I didn't. I handed it to her, and I left.
You see, I'm quiet throughout this whole thing because in my head, never. Like I said, like, and what if I put this phone in my pants? What are you gonna do? You gonna try to grab it out? Harassment. I don't care. I'm walking out with that. If it's mine and you're not listening, baby, you can chase me all you want. But the same way the system plays you, you gotta play it. So put your hands on me. Try to touch me. Yeah. Now I'm filing a report on you. That's what you should have done. That's what I would have done. I'm coming out there with my stuff. Like, I don't
She
care.
said guns and blazing and
I don't
everything.
care.
I just wasn't like this.
I was honestly sorry to cut you off, but I was so disappointed. I was like, okay, please tell me, like, what did you do after? Like, she was like, oh, I just handed the phone to her. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But it all worked out because you said that another social worker had given you another iPhone.
Her husband's iPhone. Yeah, no, I'm just not confrontational. I just really avoid arguments, and like, I was already like, I think I was more shocked that she was like,
because the 360 was crazy.
"Oh."
From loving you, wanting you to stay, to, you know what?
And days before, she was begging me to reconsider, to please, like, let's just work it out. Let's talk it out. Like,
what is it
what
that
is it you
wants you?
want? Like, do you need something from me? And yeah, like you said, the 360 of that switch of, I'm gonna be very vindictive, and the last memory you're gonna have of me is me
Having control over you still.
Yeah. So I feel like that's why I was kind of like, I just gave it up, because it's like, it wasn't worth it. Like, to me, it wasn't worth it. And if you're fighting with a 16-year-old as a 50-something-year-old, like, girl, you're a grown woman. I see myself now as 24, and I would never fight with a 16-year-old.
Right.
Like, that's, what am I doing? Like,
and then to sit there and lie and say like, oh, I paid for the phone, and then you're on speaker with the guy that literally gave you the phone, and for her to continue, that's what I'm saying. There's literally, adults should know not to lie.
no.
Adults should know not to lie in front of other adults, but do they do it? No. That's childish.
Yeah. Looking back, like, that's why I said, sister, I don't know. I just gave it up to her. I know you disappointed me. Well, looking back, girl, if I could go back to one moment in my life, it'd be right there. Throw that phone right there on the screen here. Have your cracked phone.
Because it's like, you literally, you could have left with the last key. Like, aha, stay mad. I'm walking in this car with the phone that you're over here pressed about. Bye. And drive off and wave as you drive off. Like, that would have been, that's what the fuck I would have done. I don't know where I was at. I don't remember all this going on.
I think she was at school.
I think I was at school.
Because we didn't want to say, I think it would have been harder for both of us to say bye.
Bye, yeah. Because we were like always together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's just an easier transition if you just came back and I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I should have. I really should have. But she got the last key. You know what, though? I ain't even mad about it because she ain't worth my energy. She ain't worth my energy. And you know what? I always say, like, what you put out in this world comes around. So
yeah, unless I heard she ain't doing too well. So anyways, another story from
yes. So this is very prominent as to why we decided with this story, because now you realize that we're separated. I'm in a different foster home, but Wendy's still with foster mom M.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you kind of shared, or I like that you shared your half first, because it kind of paints a picture of who this person is, mm-hmm. and how it's so easy for them, or it feels so easy for them to be able to treat you and say some hurtful things, but then turn around because of the protection of the social workers are going to believe the adult and not you. Mm-hmm. Or even people, because you ended up believing this thing. You didn't even know the full story.
I know. I just found this out like an hour ago.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of want to hear your side, even though it's not like a lot, like what was told to you, and then I'll kind of go off of that and say like the whole thing.
So once I moved from foster mom M, mm-hmm. I was placed in a foster home, which I think I'm going to try to have an episode of that, mm-hmm. just because I think it's very prominent and it was a really hurtful experience for me. Well, I guess I could touch a little base about it because the bad of the foster system. Mm-hmm. Social workers, people who license and say this home is safe for foster youth to be in here, be careful. The devil wears many disguises.
Yeah.
And with this foster dad, he was one of them. Very holy, very Christian, very God saved my life type of person. Everyone believed him. Till this day, people still believe him. The devil wears many masks. And I was placed with that foster home, but that's going to be a separate episode. And after the whole thing went down, I was placed in with Marcy. Mm-hmm. And Marcy became my forever foster home. And mm-hmm. I will always... And when we talk about the good in the foster care system, she's going to be one of my good, because I just love her so much. And I don't say it often, and we're not the I love you type of people. But she knows it, I know it, and our actions speak louder than words. Mm-hmm. So I was placed in with Marcy, and I was living with Marcy, and I will always, always have the utmost respect for Marcy for this reason. You were placed in with us temporarily. Mm-hmm. And this is why it's important of like what I heard. Mm-hmm. You were placed in, and this is after maybe a year and a half of being separated.
I would say maybe like either a year or like 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah, close to a year.
Because I was only with her for the whole time with you and without for maybe like 2.5 years.
Okay, so maybe like
so shortly after.
Yeah, like moved. A year. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say a year. Mm-hmm. Wendy was placed in with me and Marcy.
It was an emergency placement.
Yeah, it was an emergency placement. So she got kicked out, like kicked out. Like either she's going into a group home or that's it. Like, we find her a foster home to keep her temporarily.
Or Orangewood, which is another word for basically an orphanage.
Yeah. So she was placed in with us. And at the time, I've always had my own room. So with Marcy especially, so I just so happened to have an extra bed in that room. And Wendy stayed in that extra bed. And it was good for us. It was really good. But I thought emergency, it's like, I thought, honestly, I am gonna be very, very biased, but I just thought Wendy ran her mouth again and she got kicked out. Like, this girl talked back, she did something, because it had always been a pattern between me and Wendy. Like, I was, this is gonna sound awful, but I was the good child, and Wendy was the bad child who always talked back, who always just had something to say. So in my head, when she was emergency placed with us, I thought, oh, she ran her mouth and she got kicked out. Like, that's what it was. And yeah, that's what I heard. Like, it was just, I just assumed that you got kicked out because you ran your mouth.
Yeah. Oh, and then because I was sneaking out, right? Or they didn't tell you that?
Yeah, that you were sneaking. I don't know if it was confided in us that you were sneaking out. I think that I just heard from the grapevine. Yeah. Like, not the whole story of things.
Yeah. So, with that being said, that's her perspective. That's kind of what her foster parent was informed, and then she was then informed. So, this is to show that even adults could be lied to by other adults and like not even know, and it's just a domino effect. But basically, after my sister had left, it was me in the household and then 2 other foster kids that were already there when we moved in, so she knew those people. And then the foster mom and the foster dad. And then shortly after, one of the 2 that were there before us moved in with a partner, and then it was just me, one of the foster girls, and that's it. Fast forward. I don't know if you remember, but when we first moved into her house, she had our room decorated like princess, like small little kid stuff.
Yeah,
And
she was
expecting 2 small girls.
Yeah.
And she's like, she always wanted this. She had a son, but she never had a daughter. And so I guess she just, I don't know, she wanted like little girls or whatever. Important to remember, because in this situation, after that one person had left and it was just me and the other foster girl, she had taken in a family of 4. It was 2 older girls that were like in elementary. Yeah, elementary, and then a little boy and a little girl that were no older than 2 and 3, I would say, or 2 and 4.
Okay.
Painting the picture, I feel like we painted the picture describing how she is, how that like switches, and then like I said, like there was already borders and lines within the first month of me moving in, hearing her refer to my family as garbage.
Yeah.
I don't play about that. I don't play about the people that I love. So that dynamic was already there. There were so many, we had like groups of people help like try to build me and my foster mom's relationship to make it healthy. There was therapists, and I remember at one point, she tried doing like a family therapy thing, and she started, and this isn't the first time, this is so crazy. I don't think am I the issue? I don't know. But basically she was crying with
the problem?
Yeah, cuz I'm remembering this. I've heard this a couple times from foster parents, but the foster mom basically said like, oh, I don't know, like I try to be good with Wendy, but it's like a bridge, like I'm extending my end, but yours is already broken, so like we can't get nowhere, blah blah blah. And it's like, honey, ask yourself why, you know what I mean? So boom, these kids get taken in, and like I said, our dynamic, our relationship wasn't good at all. Like the opposite between how she felt about my sister is how she felt about me. And like I said, I was very misunderstood growing up. Like I felt like a lot of people felt like, oh, she has a mouth, or oh, she's rebellious, she's sassy. But it's like, no, I knew that this wasn't right. Like, I didn't know for a fact, but it just didn't feel right. I was very observant, so it was just like, it's not making sense. And she didn't like that. As you could see with the example with you, you went against her wishes of you being here, and she literally did everything in the book, and she still couldn't get you. So what did she do last minute, you know? So our relationship was already not it. She was going to be going like on a vacay for like a week, or maybe to go visit her family, I don't know, but she was going to be gone for a week. And we decided, or she decided to tell me like, oh, let's go take a walk around the neighborhood. We're going on a walk, and she's telling me like, like in a few days I'm gonna leave, blah blah blah. And I was already not messing with her, so I'm just walking, and she continues the conversation by stating like, and I don't know how it gets brought up exactly, but she was like, and like, I'm not getting as much money for you as I am for the young ones, like for the young family I just took in, so you have to go. Mind you, like I shared like with you, like it's always been in the back of our heads, or at least for mine, like, you're getting paid for me, like I'm a check. But I was never told so bluntly and so raw and cutthroat and no sugarcoating, like, you're not, basically, like, I'm not getting enough for you, you're not worth that much to me compared to these people. And to me, like I didn't know how to react, because like I said, like, it was something that I knew, but I had never been addressed or told that, and much less kicked out like that. Like, to be told like your base, like your value is like nothing, you know what I
compared to
mean?
other people. Yeah.
It was just like, oh. And I think that's why we went on a walk, because like, I don't
She didn't
know.
want no witnesses.
I don't know, like, and I just remember I feel like I went inside, and knowing me, I probably went to my room and I was just quiet and like thinking about the situation.
Yeah.
And me being me, if you're gonna go on vacation, and I've never been allowed to like go after school to see my friends, hang out, go to Target to go get snacks with my friends, the park, or birthdays, anything, like, we didn't have any social life outside of school hours. There was none of that. And then on top of that, I didn't have a phone, because I was still like, I think at that, no, I think I did. I was in high school, and I had a phone. I finally had my phone, but it was never like, I wasn't allowed to have Instagram. All my stuff was like monitored. So it was just like, no. And I already knew she was going to leave, and she had told me that, and I was already not dealing, like, messing with her. So to me, it was very easy for me to be like, all right, cool. So while she was gone for vacation, I used that week to live. Like, I was ditching school. Her mom was taking care of us. Poor old lady. She didn't know how to work the phone. She didn't know the people that were blowing up her house. The house phone was school, saying that I wasn't present in my classes. But whatever.
And he's like, it is what it is.
Yeah. And so yeah, I was hanging out with my friends. Like I said, like, we never did anything crazy. Like, it was literally innocent fun hanging out. The only thing that was wrong was me leaving school and not being there. But like I said, she had already told me that, like, I was gonna leave when she got back. So I was like, screw it. After that, she got back, and I didn't know that, the house phone was getting blown up, because the school was trying to, inform the parent that, hey, your child is not going to school. I thought, oh, as long as she doesn't answer, nobody's gonna know. I didn't realize that, usually on the, like, the phone stuff, like, it'll say primary.
Yeah.
And then there's always like the parent's actual cell phone. So while she was out vacationing, and I thought I was like, oh, her mom's not answering, or decline. No, she was getting those recordings, those messages, those voicemails. So she got back, and she had a lot to say. She was like, you're ditching, like, you're not you're being disobedient, rebellious, blah blah blah. And at that point, like I said, I had already had a case on her as to the reasons why I don't like you, as to the reasons why we'll never connect, because you're two-faced, you know what you do, you don't know how to take accountability, you're a liar, like, and a thief on top of that, because you're trying to snatch my damn
bag.
My bag, yeah, my little $25 a month. Still, okay. And yeah, so I remember she was on the phone with my casa, and the next day was school. She comes upstairs because I'm in my room, and she comes upstairs and she passes me the phone, and I'm like, hello. And so I'm talking to the casa, and she tells me, like, originally the way this was gonna go down was you were gonna go to school tomorrow, and the social workers were going to show up to your school without a warning. They were going to pull you out of class, take you to M's house, and help you pack, and then you were going to be moved.
And whose plan was this?
This was M's plan. This is what she wanted. The reason why was because she said that she didn't want me to run away from the house. Mind you, I never ran away from the house.
Girl, we were
I
in
left the
Moreno Valley.
school.
Where are we gonna run?
And who to whose? So it's like I was ditching school, but I never left the house. So I was like, whatever. But again, that's what she wanted. And in my head, like, I feel like it's like this for a lot of foster youth. The people at our house are, one, not our family biologically, but two, we don't see them as that because of all these things that happen. You're lucky if you get a good home, you know? So to me, my family was the people at school, my counselors, the people that actually showed support and understood and could educate me on what was going on. My friends. At that time I was in a relationship. Like, my family was my friends at school.
Yeah.
And for her to be like, kind of like in your situation, to
Like
have the
vindictive.
last key, it was like, now I'm not even going to give you a chance to even say bye to these people that you care about, you know?
Yeah.
So that was her plan. Now, what had happened was my casa had made way and spoke to the workers, or
So
her advocated for me and told them, like, no, she at least deserves, like, if not the full day, give her at least half the day to say bye to her friends. So she told me the night before, she's like, this is what's gonna happen tomorrow around 1 or 2. We're gonna come take you out of class, and so that way you have like lunch and whatever passing periods to say bye to your people. And it was still very short notice, but I'm so grateful that I had someone advocate for me, because she understood, even though she was never in the system a day in her life, but she understood how much I valued those people and how much, like, they really did see for me, you know? And so
yeah,
because of me ditching is kind of what she used to paint, like, this is why we're moving her, because she's being defiant and she's not going to school. And that's more than enough reasons for the court and the workers, like, oh yeah, she's not going to school, like, education is very important. So they were like, okay, yes, we do need to move her. But they didn't know. Nobody knew. My sister didn't know. The worker didn't know. The FFA, no one knew what had triggered me to be so careless and be like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was that comment, like,
that's just so crazy. Like I said, I just learned this an hour ago because we were connecting the dots. And it was just so crazy how she, again, this is why I always say, like, and I say time, I've repeated it so many times, but just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean that we should hold adults to the higher standard, because to be honest, foster mom N, she went below the belt multiple times. That comment was so out of pocket. That comment was why foster youth have such a hard time trusting people, because it's people like that who get certified as foster parents and they have this mentality of, you're bringing in money, but they're bringing in more. So they're favored more. You got to get out because I got to bring in more money for my pocket.
And the fact that, like, I don't know, in that moment I just felt so stripped, like, stripped of a person, stripped of a child, stripped of, like, anything, just to, like, nothing. Like, I felt like feeling like a 10, like a dime, to less than a penny, like,
because it
and
made you,
then what can I do? Like, that
yeah, the
helplessness of,
control.
like, well, you know, I felt like mentally I kind of tapped into that whole thing with, like, for last episode, like, the whole thing about, like, with the first foster dad, and I was like, but I love you. Like, I was even thinking about like how much more do I need to kiss your behind for me to be here, for me to stay here. But it was just like, it was just so blunt. And that's why I was like, there is nothing I can do. You're gonna be gone, so might as well enjoy this time with my family slash friends that actually give a fuck about me, that actually care, that actually listen, that are there, that sit with me, that
Mm-hmm.
let me vent, that love me. So I, to whatever extent, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
just love the fact also that you said that you found family outside of the home. Like that wasn't even your home, like that wasn't your family. Like, and it just goes to show that like sometimes foster youths find family outside because at home no one treats them like family. So they'll find it elsewhere. And that's where it gets really tricky and very it can be very tricky because sometimes our foster youths will find family in bad
Mhm.
influences,
Unfortunately, yeah.
unfortunately, because at home no one treats them like family.
And there's
Oh,
something that one of my friends say that he taught me. He told me that relatives, it like you're my relative because we have DNA.
yeah,
But family is like, you see the difference, like relatives, like we're blood, so that it's
with no
just DNA.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family is what makes you feel supportive. Family is the people that you make. It could be friends, it can be, it could still be relatives, you know what I mean? But it's basically like whoever you make it, whoever makes you feel that acceptance like a family should.
Mhm.
You're not bound to just who you're.
Blood related to and
Yeah,
DNA
because
related to.
sometimes you need to cut those people off too,
Yeah.
and that's healthy, and that's okay as long as it's respectful. But
Yeah.
mhm,
That's horrible. Um you have another foster home, but to touch base, so you were then removed,
mhm,
which vindictive. Let's just say the fact that that was her plan so that you wouldn't run away. Nah, you knew exactly what you were doing. You were trying to strip this little girl from saying bye to everyone that she loved and had ties to benefit you so that you could have the last laugh.
mhm.
To hurt her. That's what you were doing. Gross. You're a grown woman.
And I
Like,
didn't even say it, but like as the casa was telling me like what her plan was
oh,
and
that's
what it
right.
was, like I mind you, she passed the phone, so she's sitting almost like on the doorway, and I have the phone. Like I don't know if it's on speak. I'm pretty sure it's on speaker. Because she started smiling and laughing as my Costa is telling me this news. Obviously, I'm freaking out and panicking. Then she tells me the original plan, and now I'm furious because, and I'm looking at her, and she starts laughing and smiling, and she makes a comment talking about something like, "Oh, you want me to help you pack now?" Like don't don't do that. And I think
Gross.
she even got even more of a kick out of it because I was so, I don't know if you guys have, I've never felt this type of pain before, even so much so like when I found like dad's passing and what really happened, because it all happened in that household with Miss M, or foster mom M.
Mhm.
It was like this, like I felt like not only did you strip me and make me feel like I was less than anything valuable in life, you know what I mean? Like just telling
Mhm.
me like I'm not worth anything compared to these people. Not only, and then you telling me in my face, and it almost felt like a spit in my face. And then you're over here plotting this and this like scheme
Yeah.
behind my back, and then you're smiling in my face, and then you're making these funny remarks like it's funny to you. But then I'm also losing so much, and I'm realizing like you do have power over my life, you
Mhm.
do have a say so over it. And that
Mhm.
alone is a terrible feeling when it comes to a stranger you don't know, a stranger that's
Mhm.
getting benefiting off of you staying there.
Mhm.
On top of that is nothing to you, and is telling you some out of pocket things that no child, no one should ever experience hearing, you know what I mean, or being told these things. And then just knowing like, okay, like you are gonna get the last laugh. On top of all these things, I'm also grieving, early stages of grieving the connections, the friends that I built. I had just moved from a home of 9 years where
Yeah.
I had elementary school friends, kindergarten friends that I was starting to grow with and build a bond and be so close with. And then now it's like, I was just here for 2 years. I just started making family. And now you're sitting in my face. Like, it was just so much. And I remember I was just like crying so much so that I felt like my lungs, like physically, internally, I felt like my body was shutting down. Like, it was physical pain. Like, I've never felt my lungs. And that was before I started smoking. So don't even say smoker's lung. No, baby. I was sober and young. And it was just like a very hard and
detestable behavior.
Yeah,
Detestable. That was
terrible.
just shows the type of foster families there are out there. It's horrible.
And how people could be.
Yeah.
So after that is when I moved.
So after that, you were placed into the emergency home, and this is why I said earlier. I said that I will always have the utmost respect for Marcy, because any parent in that situation, Marcy has always been the type of person who will keep siblings together. Like, if she's got the room, she'll keep them. It just shows the type of foster mom that I got. She's just the absolute best. But when Wendy was placed in with us, obviously there was word of like, well, you got an extra bed, like they're already sharing, like they're siblings, like, the social worker was talking to Marcy. And I will always respect Marcy, and I will always be something in the back of my head. And when we talk about the good, it's just you're gonna be able to get to understand the level of person that she is and the heart that she has, because I will never forget that Marcy looked at me, and I know that in the back of her head she was probably thinking, well, it is your sister, like, let's just keep her. Like, don't you want to keep your sister around? But I was still hurting. I was still trying to grow, and I will never forget that she looked at me and she looked at the social worker, and she said, I will not do anything that she's not okay with me doing. If she doesn't want Wendy to be here, then I'm not keeping her. If she agrees to have Wendy placed here permanently, then we will follow her plan. But I'm not doing anything that she's not comfortable with. And I will always have the utmost respect for her, because in that moment, it's like, I had gone through so many foster homes, feeling not seen, not wanted, not heard. And she was the first person. Well, there was two people, but she was one of the second persons to look at me and just be like, I see you. I value your opinion. And whatever you say goes. I'm not going to push your boundary.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Yeah, she's the best. So I'm excited for the good in the system, because she's going to be the topic of...
Yeah. And hopefully we can. Like, I know, side note, but I know, like, eventually, our story will be told and what's next. But I hope.
Yeah, Marcy really wants to be on here. I keep getting asked when mom's gonna be here, so it's just a moment of when we're all able to fit schedules, and it'll grow eventually, and they will be on here eventually. So, and opening it up too. So we talked about discussing that, about opening up the podcast. But so after that, you were then placed into another foster home, foster mom I.
And before I touch on this, I also have that I'm pretty sure you remember foster mom J.
Oh yeah.
That big one. So I think those two last stories. So there is another foster parent.
Yeah, Wendy bounced from foster home to foster home.
Yeah. But to keep it a buck, it wasn't my fault. Okay, Miss M, I was already out the door, so might as well make it dirty for her. You know what I mean? Like, might as well. But this next home, so I moved there. This was my third Hispanic household, so I was so blessed. That's one good thing, is that in the system you can bounce from any home with any background. But I was so lucky to still be so in tune and so around like
your culture,
my culture.
Yeah,
because that means the world to me. Very proud of where we come from, our story, heritage, and everything.
We're Latinas. What can we say?
There you go.
Proud.
So, yeah, and that was my first home moving there by myself. Because at the other home we moved there together and we separated. I already knew what was going on. I knew the people. I knew what I was gonna stay stuck in. But this, like, I'm moving by myself, completely by myself.
What was that like for you? Like, I know we're talking about foster homes, but I would be curious, like, what was it like for me to come to you and tell you that, hey, I need space and I'm moving?
I understood. And then too, like, I didn't know Marcy enough, but like how you said, like, I feel like she's your type of parent just because I'm more of, I don't know, like, I get uncomfortable with people that, if I can't read your facial expressions, I don't feel safe because I don't know what's coming, and not knowing what's coming, it doesn't make me feel safe. And I feel like she is very loving, and like you said, but she's not that type that's like, I love you, and very, like, with her
Affectionate,
words and
yeah. She doesn't. We don't hug. We don't say I love you. Like, it's through actions. Like, I just know that she'll always be there for me, and like she'll text me from time to time, but she doesn't over bombard me.
Yeah. And so to
She's the
me,
perfect match for me.
that's what I'm saying. Like, for you, because that's like, you're not very touchy. Like,
Mm-mm.
even our relationships, you don't really hug, or like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we say I love you, but it's not, like, on a day-to-day basis or what have you.
It's
You know
more
what I
like
mean?
a love you.
Yeah, and then bye. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So to me, I don't know, like, it's not that she didn't make me feel that way. It's just that wasn't my, I would feel more safe and comfortable being reassured. My biggest thing is reassurance. Like, I need to know, like, we're good, and like,
Mm-hmm.
that you do care for me, and that's my thing. So I wasn't upset at all at the fact that I wasn't gonna stay there.
Mm-hmm.
I was just not ready for the change by myself.
Yeah.
Cause like I said, like, moving by yourself. Let me illustrate this to you guys the best way I can. Think of you in high school, or whatever age you want to think of, before you're an adult, and you're grabbing your stuff and you're moving to whoever lives on the corner of your block. You're moving there. You don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know their history. You don't know their religion. You don't know their perspectives on things. You don't know their rules. You don't know their family. You don't, like, you literally don't know anything. And you're moving into this home, and on top of not knowing this person, not growing up with them, you also don't, how do I explain this? Like,
We just don't know anything about them.
yeah, you just don't know how to, like, move around them, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And then too, like, there's no security. Another
Yeah.
thing, another negative in the system is, like, there's no locks on doors. There's no privacy, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, as a female, very unfortunate, but a lot of things do tend to happen,
Mm-hmm.
even though you're in the system. It's so sick and so unfortunate. So it's very scary, and it was very, very scary for me as a female that, like I said, like,
Mm-hmm.
from a young age, I've kind of always been sexualized
Mm-hmm.
because of my body. And so moving into this home by myself, I'm not knowing anyone, but
Yeah.
I do know that there's males that live there, and
Yeah.
that was a change because before it was just like that sibling and then us,
Yeah.
or it was just us, or you know what I mean. There was never like a mix of, like, no, we're not all related, and it was like a group home vibe,
Yeah.
and with like mixed sexes and stuff. So it was a new experience, and I remember I came in and I was just crying, 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 because I lost my family, and now I'm over here with, I was just so overwhelmed with the amount of kids that were in there, different ages, different
Mm-hmm.
everything, and how normal everyone was moving. Like, I felt like I was broken. Like, I felt like everyone was acting normal, and I was just the only one that was just freaking out, and this is where I'm gonna live. Like, and then too, we had each other. Like if we moved to a house, it was usually me and her in the same room, or that one time that we got our own rooms, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But now I don't even have the comfort of being able to feel and cry and go through these motions, and like,
Mhm.
because now I'm sharing a room with someone that I don't even know. So it's
Yeah.
like, dude, there's literally no space for me to hide, no space for me to be me, no space for me to feel. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So it was just like, I don't know, that experience alone was very heavy. It was
With foster mom,
very,
yeah.
yeah, because that was the first time me moving like alone.
Yeah.
But the issue that I had with her, there was two. One of them is really quick. Like I said, like our genes and our family, we come from very thick girls. And growing up, like I remember my mom growing up, like even after pushing four babies, she would show her stomach, and I would see stretch marks, And in our family, like, or at least for me, it was never frowned upon. It was just like, you're a thick girl, you're gonna get stretch marks,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
you get pregnant, this happens. Like it was never,
Which is natural.
yeah, like it
Natural.
was nothing wrong. And I was in high school, and I was growing, and at some point I had these like low rise sweats on, and like a crop top, and she had looked at my side, and she was like, "Oh no." She's like, "No, no, no, no. At my age, I had a beautiful body, even better than yours." And that's the thing. Okay, this
Ooh,
foster parent, very
jealous.
like, girl, you're 50 something, you're pushing 60, and you're over here comparing yourself to me, and not even yourself as in the version you are. You're comparing yourself
To younger you.
that don't exist no more. Okay, that baby is expired, she's long gone. Okay.
Shut
No, I'm
up.
just saying. Okay, because they'll try to come for me. So yeah, so she would be like, "Oh no, at my age I didn't have this." So I'm over here like, What are you talking about? Like, I'm confused, what are you picking at?" And so she was like, "Oh no, like you should be embarrassed. Like, why don't you pull up?" Because like I said, I had low rise sweats on. She's like, "You need to pull that, like, basically you need to cover it." She was like, "Cover it, and matter of fact, I'm gonna research like this pomada, this cream or
Yeah,
something,
there you go.
ointment to
Yeah.
put, so it can lighten it or something like that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mentioned that example because this lady was always like, I don't know what it was with her, but she would constantly like compare me and her at our ages, like as if
Oh.
she was my age. So it was just really weird.
You're like, Senora, calm down.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. And it was like at times I didn't know if she wanted to be my best friend,
Or she was jealous of
if
you.
she's jealous. Like, I don't know. I don't know. So, but the issue was, so there was that, like, first of all, you're too grown to be sitting over here picking. And another thing was acne. Like, I had very bad acne, mind you. I was going through the changes and stuff. I was in high school. I was
Mhm.
stressing, boy drama, and all that. So yeah, and instead of being helpful and having a different approach, it was like, "Oh no, like I had like clear skin, and oh, it's because you guys don't know how to take care of it." Girl, my skin is sensitive, and I didn't know that. I was literally using every product in the book, and I didn't know that wasn't
No, for
healthy.
real. Oh, can we talk about that? Like the
Yeah.
products?
And that the fact
Oh,
that we were never coached through, like, I don't know about you, but like when I got my cycle, I was never coached on, okay, this is what's gonna happen, this is what you need to do. Feminine products, never was talked to about that. About my hair, I learned about that stuff by
yeah.
myself. Like everything that it was to become a woman, I either YouTube helped me out, or I learned that by myself.
Mm,
And that's very sad because
it
I feel
is.
like you're getting paid to take care of us. That also means like taking care of us and preparing us for those big, big steps and changes in our life?
Yeah.
And instead of
So,
sitting here and making me feel bad for the changes that I'm going through, no. You know what I mean? What were you going to
yeah.
say?
No, so she would pick at your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the examples.
Just like, you don't do that. You don't do that. So basically,
It's
going off of
gross.
like what happened with the thing with like the first foster
Mm-hmm.
home and the running and stuff
And the
like that.
eating, yeah.
So that was that. Now the biggest thing with her was punishment treatment. Like I said, I feel like all of the foster parents kind of put two and two together. Like, oh, you can't get away with doing stuff to me. Like, I'm gonna speak. Call me a snitch. Call me whatever you want to call me. No, I'm just speaking what's right. Because you're not gonna bat. Like, you're not gonna go over my rights or me as a person when my whole life has been that. You know what I mean? So uh basically it was just like she would start picking fights over the smallest things, like, you know, like your little house shoes, like when you're walking around sometimes you might like, you know,
Like
like
scrape it.
scrape it a little
Yeah.
bit. And oh my god, mind you, this girl had tile floors, like, that we probably were the reason she got them tile floors. So she's over here like, oh, she'd be like, oh, stop dragging your feet, like you're gonna crack the floor, girl,
Crack the
please.
floor.
Right, like what? And then she'd be like just anything she would pick on me.
Estaba
it
celosa. She's
it
jealous.
it got at some point where there was a kid there. Like I said, it was so many, it was like a group home. There was a guy that had been there since he was like 15 and 14. But the thing about him was he was, I believe, autistic. He was on the spectrum. And a lot of the times I would notice that this foster parent would use the foster kids to control the household. Now, what I mean by that is like, if she saw that me and him were having a conversation about her, or like we were just like very like shh, and then when she would come around, like we would just be quiet, she would make the rest of the house feel like we were talking stuff on them. And now the whole house was
Oh.
like, you know,
Against you guys.
or like there was a girl, like my roomie when I had first moved there, it was a female, and she told me like, oh, it's because like I don't like saying no to Miss I, or like the foster mom I, because then like she doesn't talk to me and it makes me feel like she doesn't care about me. And she picked up on it, and what she would do whenever she wanted that girl to do something and she was like, she just didn't feel comfortable, like, oh no, like, she'd be like, okay, I'll ask someone else. And then she'd be like, oh no, 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 like, I'll do it. So like I noticed that, like,
So like control.
that's what I'm saying. She would
Yeah.
do things to control how, like,
The house
who was
ran.
close to who, what was going on, like,
Okay, we're not in high
very.
school. Calm down.
That's what I'm saying. Like, girl, yeah, it's giving you want that old version of you back. That's what it's giving. You want to be a part of drama so bad. You want to be Regina George, is what I'm hearing. Like, that's what I'm hearing.
Wait, that's such a good analogy. Okay, she said you
Right.
want to be Regina George,
She
girl.
said these jeans, or what did she say, these sweats is all that I can fit. Yeah, but anyways, so what was the last part that I had said? Oh, controlling the house.
Yeah, controlling the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
So with that said person, he was there for the longest. So I asked him because she was giving me chores that I was just like, all right, Buki, you're doing too much. Like, what do you mean scrub the corners of the tile? Like, huh? So she had told me to scrub the walls of the male bathroom. And I said male bathroom because she was very smart about this. And honestly, I hope that when they did the investigation, they caught on to it. Because, you know, they come and see the house or inspect the house, make sure everything's up to par, that we have our needs and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And so we had two restrooms. The girl bathroom, which was a half bathroom, it was just the sink and the toilet. And we called it the girl bathroom because we kept it clean, and it was the guest bathroom. So anytime workers and stuff would come, they would go through there. It was clean all the time. The boys' bathroom was the full bathroom, and there was mold on the ceilings, toilet papers like on the floor. The toilet was just all shitty, like just bad.
Oh, I would
And
lose it.
and like I said, there was mold, and like you can't have that. So um she was making me clean their bathroom and scrub their shit infested walls. You got me messed up. So what I did was I asked the guy that was living there the longest, I was like, in your years living here, has she ever made you do this as a chore? And he was like, no. He was like, and that's the boys' bathroom. What are you even doing there cleaning the boys' bathroom? You don't even use that bathroom besides shower. So I was like, okay. So I started putting two and two together, and I was like, this is unfair treatment. So I talked to my worker and I opened like a case with her, I think. But the reason why I had done it was because I was already so tired of her that, and this is another negative in the freaking system, it's so sick that this is how, at least in my situation, it worked. I was trying to get out of that house. I was trying to get out of that house so much so, and for so many reasons, that I had even gotten to the point where I had tried to like talk to the worker to get me out. It didn't work. And then I think this was my second to last way of getting out of the house, like making a report and saying like there was unfair treatment and I
Mhm.
was getting
Mhm.
discriminated, blah blah blah. Because another thing is in that house that I also made a report on was we talked about how foster parents tend to have like their own biological kids with them.
Mhm.
In that household, it was so black and white. Her son would eat, he would get up, go to his room, go play video games. He would never pick up his plate. He would never do no chores. She
Mhm.
made it a chore for us to clean his room. I never once did that. The one day she told me to clean his room, like as a chore, I was like, no, because he's not coming in my room and picking up my shit. So I'm not going to do it. So, like I said, they pick up, or I guess she was picking up on, like, oh, like Wendy, I can't really tell her things because she's going to get on it.
Yeah.
So the second thing was me making that report of like, no, I'm already telling the worker like she's not treating us the same. The boy doesn't do anything. We're picking up after his stuff. On top of that, we were the foster kids. We had the main fridge to eat out of, while in our foster mom's room, she had a whole fridge and a microwave full of snacks and all the good things for her son to eat, but not for us. So all the good Lunchables, snacks, and stuff like that, it was in her room locked away, while all the regular things that he didn't really want were put in the other fridge with us.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So because of those reasons, I think that's why it was like a built case for like the discrimination and just like how things were like going on.
Yeah.
That still wasn't enough. And so my last thing, and that's what I'm saying, it's so sad that it gets to this point, but I had told the worker, like, you know what? If you guys don't get me out of here, and at this point it was COVID. So in COVID, like, we were home 24/7. So I didn't have that outlet of friends or school to
Yeah.
distract me from the BS going on at home.
Yeah.
So it was COVID and it was really, really like mentally doing a number on me. And so I told the worker, like, either you guys get me out or
You're gonna find my body.
you're gonna find my body somewhere, and that's it, and it's gonna be on your conscience that I've been. And it's so crazy because the foster parents can put a 14 emergency day notice, right, where the workers have 14 days to find a home,
I think
or
now it's
even a
shortened.
7. Now it's 7.
Yeah, now it's 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you used to have 14 days, like
2 weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks
Now
to
it's 1 week. If not, I've even heard 2-day notices.
yeah.
So, with that being said, the fact that the foster parents are the ones that could do that, because when I asked if I could put it on myself, they said no, that basically I would have to wait for her to do it. And here we see the whole controlling thing again, where she didn't want me there. I was such an issue, and I talked back and da da da. Right in her eyes, I'm the issue because I'm not letting certain things slide, yet she still didn't want me to leave. So it's like, you want me to be miserable. You want me. So I said what I said. Either y'all get me out or y'all are going to come in here and find my body. And that's just that. And it took that for them to get me out of there.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. I would not have lasted a second in that household. I would not even have wanted to take a shower. No.
It was so bad, sister. And that's the thing. Like, the toilet, the boys,
No, I can
excuse me,
imagine.
toilet and the tub and the shower were literally like, you've
No.
seen my bathroom? You
Yeah.
see how it's like so. That's basically what it was. That's exactly how it was. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And mold. And I don't know what they were doing, but it looked like someone had wiped their butt and tried sticking it up, but it didn't stick, and there was just shit toilet papers on the floor.
That's
I don't know
gross.
what boys were doing, and I don't know.
That's gross.
But you mean to tell me I'm gonna be scrubbing them shit infested walls? No.
No, that's gross. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew. Yeah. So, your last foster home.
I'm gonna try to make this fast and as also detailed as possible. Basically, as much as it's a cycle of people misunderstanding me and saying that I'm defiant and I'm disrespectful and blah blah blah.
When he's like, I got my
Never.
reasons. Don't try me.
Yeah, cause not like that. That's what I'm saying. I don't think I'm a problem, but at this house, so my fun fact, when I had said that to the worker, like, either y'all get me out or y'all are gonna find my body, the worker that I told that to took it so much like urgently, that she ended up quitting her position as a social worker to become my foster parent.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm moving into her place. And now this was culture shock. Okay. Like I said, I had been with Hispanics my whole life. I have been with my peoples. And now I'm in this home where we're eating spaghetti pot pie.
Hey, don't play with spaghetti and pot pie.
And
Don't
hot
play.
dogs and
Don't play with it, girls. Don't do
and
it. You're like, I went from eating mole verde, pozole, tacos to spaghetti and chicken pot pie.
Because why were they asking me to teach them how to make tacos? That's when I knew, say goodbye to your old life. Like, it was just like, oh, we're eating nachos, and I'm used to nachos with the beans and the
beef
and the carne asada, and their nachos were literally just cheese and sprinkle some, no, it was some chips and sprinkle some cheese and put it in the microwave, and those were nachos. Baby, we are not the same. Okay, so
don't play with that either. That's so good.
So anyway, so in that household, I feel like
Can I just interrupt you quickly? She would not have survived at Marcy's. You would not have survived at Marcy's. Marcy,
all her stuff was like freezer food, huh?
no, it wasn't. Don't play with her
No?
either. She knows how to cook.
Okay, well,
She knows how
I
to
was
cook.
only there for respite, so I
knows how
only
to cook.
seen that. Like,
Okay, but hey,
and her
you and I-
barbecue beans, or something about her beans.
those were so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I survived. I loved it. I eat anything. Spaghetti, ooh, don't play. That's my favorite food.
But it wasn't seasoned.
It was still good to me.
You're done. Anyways. So yeah, so
the culture shock.
The culture shock.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, and I mentioned that because Spanish wasn't their language, and cool, but I'm Hispanic, so I'm gonna listen to my corridos. I'm gonna listen to my banda, my stuff, and I don't care if you feel uncomfortable, or because it's not against you. It's just, don't be mad that I know 2 languages and you don't. Sorry.
She said bilingual queen.
Yeah, don't play. Learn it yourself. So
there's Duolingo.
There you go. Rosetta Stone. Don't play. Yeah, so there was that, and then the fact that I was already 17, I think. I was already 17. I'm at the age where you can't tell me that you're mom and he's dad. You can't tell me that these are my siblings and I have to love and care for them as if they are.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that this is a family and we're happy and that we're related.
Yeah.
We can't do family nights and act like and make you feel like I'm so into it that you guys are actually my family. You can't do that, okay?
Yeah.
And especially, like I said, like, I've been different homes. I've been in the system since I was 3. I'm 17. Sorry, I'm already ready to go out.
Yeah.
And so with this lady, like I said, maybe she got the wrong first foster kid. But hey, it is what it is. She was very. I feel like I would have benefited from her when I was younger. That inner child of me.
Yeah.
She very much did make me a part of her family.
Yeah.
She we would have family movie nights every night. Literally, before we fell asleep, before we went to sleep, the last thing we all did as a family was watch a movie together. Then we would all say goodnight and go to sleep. And then we would have dinner together. Everything was together. Everything was like family oriented. Her kids, like her biological kids, had like games, and I would be there as like a supportive sister. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't mind those things, but what I did mind, and the reason for it was, it goes back to that whole Thanksgiving thing with that one family that I spoke about. They had, I forgot to mention, but they had basically made a comment about, okay, everyone, like, let's get together and take a family picture. And that triggered me because I was like, family picture?
Yeah.
This isn't my family. I don't want to be in your picture. And I remember like I put up like a fight or whatever.
Which
And
should have been respected.
yeah, and I was just like, I don't want to be in it. And they basically were like, come on, just get in it. And then I remember Miss M, she was very much like, just get in it, just get in it, like you're making a big deal. And I remember I made sure to mess up that picture because y'all are going to make me uncomfortable. I'm going to make you uncomfortable every time you look back at Thanksgiving 20 something. You know what I mean? Like, no. And because of that, ever since that situation, I've never liked family pictures.
Yeah.
Because I never felt like I fit into one.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you said with the puzzle pieces and that like
Yeah.
awkward one piece that you're like, I don't know where I. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And with her, like, she would. There was a situation where I took a school picture for high school and she printed it out and she put it on her fridge. I didn't notice it until she had friends come over and they were like, "Oh my god, like, oh, like you have her on the fridge." And I was like, "What? Have who?" I looked, why am I on the fridge with the rest of her kids? Again, I appreciate the thought, but I had already told her that I didn't want that. I didn't want my photos around her house. Like I would appreciate it if she respect what I was saying, and so she didn't. The reason why I felt like I started getting a little bit more like ick towards her was because I felt like she was using me almost like a charity case. I felt like every time she would meet people or interact with people, it was often met with like, "Oh yeah, like this is Wendy. We just took her in." Like, why does everyone need to know what you're doing for me if it's coming out of your heart? Cuz not like that, but the rest of the foster parents, at least like they were very good about like, "Oh, this is Wendy." Like,
Yeah.
leave it at that. If they would have like, "Oh, it's my daughter," like very, like it was at least hush hush. Like hers was very open, like, "No, like we just got her, blah blah blah, like she's adjusting very well." Like I just felt like,
Charity case. Yeah.
why do you have to say that that's what I am? I'm not embarrassed, but like why is it? And then now you're posting, or not posting, but you're putting these pictures, like I don't know, something about it never felt genuine. Around this,
Like an act in a
yeah,
way.
that's what it felt like to me.
You know, have you ever watched the Good American Family on Hulu
Is that the one that kind of looks like,
with Natalia?
no?
Oh, they had like this Good American Family basically, and they took in this orphan from Ukraine, and like basically like it's a really good show. Um, but it's like the perfect family, right? And like, oh, like she took this girl from Ukraine in, and oh, look, she's doing so much for this girl, like that type of thing. But that story has a twist. But
I mean, this one did too.
okay, so tell me
But
about the twist.
so yeah, so that's basically what it was. And at
Mhm.
this time, um, I feel like it was one of those things where it's like you can't force anything because when you force something, like it's not natural.
Yeah.
And I feel like at her house, because she had helped me out of that situation and like stopped her line of work to become my foster parent.
Yeah.
To me it's like, okay, like I'm finally gonna be able to be myself. Like she knows me, she's my worker. Like I just felt like a connection. Like I actually know
Yeah.
who I'm moving into with. Like she cares about me so much so to risk her job for me. So all these things are playing into like play. However, um because she was my worker, she had access to information about like, my early on years,
Mhm. Mhm.
different foster homes, all that history. And so at this time, I had finished getting into it with my mom, I believe. Like me and my mom didn't speak for like a year. We'll get into that when it comes to like her segment.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we started, clicking, and then I started becoming very close to like my aunt, one of my aunts. And basically me and my mom started building our relationship. It got ugly before it got nice and to where it's at right now. And I feel like that's very normal for our relationship, for how like things played out. Like I feel like that was like the most normal thing or process. And she felt some type of way. I was telling her that, like, every night, like I said, like, she would make it a thing, like, we all had to be together and you at least have to spend 30 minutes, like, with her kids playing outside. Mind you, I'm in high school.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with kids. I don't want to be around you. I literally want to graduate and get out. Like, that's what I'm looking for. All I want is a place to be able to sleep, do my homework, go to work, and come back, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for ties or emotional relationships because I already know I'm leaving in a year, and I already know that you are not my family, and I've already been told that I'm a check and this and that. What makes you think that I am gonna believe? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just not. So she basically was forcing it, and like I said, I came into her home hoping and praying that I could be myself. And when she was making these things a requirement, and almost like it felt like, okay, it's just like another foster home. I gotta observe what she likes, what she doesn't, do what she likes, kiss her ass, do whatever it is that I have to do to stay here for another year until I turn 18. And she didn't realize that by doing those things it was pushing me away. So now it's not genuine at all. Had you allowed me to feel comfortable in the house, fill you out, trust you on my own timing, and when I chose that this is a safe place, it would have been so much better. But when you're sitting here behind me and following me and this and that, and why don't you talk to me? Maybe because I don't know you enough. I know you as a worker. I don't know you as a person, and now I'm living with you, so it's different. And like I said, just the charity things, like, I just felt like I was a charity case, not respecting my wishes. And then this is a big one, and this is, like, I don't know, I've always said, like, my dad is the highest thing to me. No one ever can disrespect him, say anything about him without either feeling my wrath, being upset, hearing my mouth, or I'm just gonna cut you off because you disrespected him. And by disrespecting him and him not being here, I'm gonna do my part to defend him in this life. So there was a nickname that he had for us. I'm not gonna say it, but very, very sacred to us, so I'm not gonna say it, but it ends with O, right? She had known about my dad. One day we were in Havasu, and her husband is there with us. We're all there as a family. And he goes on after, and this is what I'm saying, like, you're not respecting what I'm saying, but you're flaunting me. So she basically said, like, oh, come on, Wenders. Or no, he said it with the O. And I looked back, and my face very expressionate. If whatever my mouth doesn't say, my face is gonna say. So I turned around and I'm like, what? Like, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. He was like, oh, don't get mad, don't get bad, Wenders. Now you're trying to be funny. You know why I'm upset, and now you're trying to sugarcoat it and, like, oh, it's not a big deal. Yes, it is. It is to me, and that's why I cared so much about it, that I had a conversation to you guys to not give me a nickname, and to most definitely do not make it that one, because that is the only thing that, like, was given to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you have that physical thing, I only have that name. And so to me, it's just like, don't ever. And like I said, around the time I was building that relationship with my mom, so me and my mom were getting close. Like I said, it got ugly. She wasn't there when it got ugly. Like, me and my mom, we were on social media cussing each other out. It got ugly, hit rock bottom for both of us before it got to this point where we were communicating. I was letting her know what my life has been for the past year, like everything she missed, blah, 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 and also keeping her updated on what's going on. She didn't like the fact that I was starting to build this relationship, that I was getting closer to my biological mother than to her, that she had made a comment basically stating, like, well, I just find it so crazy that, your mom did all this hurt to you. Like, she's basically the reason why you're in here, but you have so much love for her. But with me, you're almost meeting me with resistance. And all I've done is open my doors and be nothing but loving and caring to you. I understand that, but you're throwing it in my face and forcing me to do these things that you want me to be. You want me to be this. I'm sorry, foster kids are not freaking angels. Like, we go through things. I don't want to say we're broken, but we have deep rooted scars in us that other kids don't, that your
Mhm.
kids that are growing up with both mom and dad don't face,
Mhm.
like fears, like I said, just deep-rooted things that you don't know about. So with all of that, she was just like, yeah, I find it so funny, and in my head it's like, what's funny about it? You don't know what you're talking about, because like I said, she didn't know that it had gotten ugly. My mom had told her that it did. My mom, like, she was even having conversations with mom, and my mom was coaching her and telling her, like, Wendy just needs to trust you, like, Wendy just needs time. And she'd be like, well, how long? Like, girl, you wanted on your time and that was your problem. It all could have worked out, but you messed it up. That's what I'm saying. I don't think I'm the issue. But yeah, so fast forward, now that you know, like, the little backstory of it,
Mhm.
it was so much, I guess, for her that one day it was me, her husband, and her kids, her 3 kids. We all went to the beach because she needed like a day to herself. We come back, and like I said, if I feel happy and joy and connected in that moment,
Mhm.
it's gonna show, because it's a natural thing. I
Mhm.
don't have you breathing down my neck talking about some family picture at the beach, guys. I don't want to hear that. That brings my mood down. Like, ugh, like, I feel like you're forcing me. Versus if I'm like, okay, like, I'm actually happy, like, I actually feel like a part of this family, like, I actually
Mhm.
feel like these are good moments that I'm gonna remember, like,
Mhm.
I'm actually bathing in these genuine natural feelings that's happening.
Yeah.
So I come home. She had this camera in the living room, and like, to watch her kids, the dogs, whatever it was. And so she's watching us through the camera like a creep. And she's like, she sees that I come in all happy, and I'm happy. I'm like, I'm helping with the towels. I'm helping, like, um help the kids shake off their bathing suits so we could put it in the washer. Like, it's very much giving happy house. But she wasn't there. So I don't know what it was. I guess she contacted mom, sent her a video, and mom basically told her, like I said, like, give her time, like,
Mhm.
and basically she felt some type of way that I was acting all happy, and she was like, this is just different Wendy. Maybe because you weren't there to freaking bug me and tell me what to feel and what not to feel and how to act and how not to act. Maybe it was that. Maybe you were the negative in the equation. But you're not there to hold account or be accountable for
Your
what you're
actions,
doing or
yeah.
what you're plotting to do. So fast forward, that night I'm asleep. I sleep downstairs. Everyone else is upstairs. Her husband's upstairs. Her kids, they're all put to sleep. After dinner we go to sleep, and I used to sleep with the TV on. At night I wake up to the garage door opening, and my window is open, and like I said, I'm downstairs. She's outside talking to I don't know who. So much so loud enough for me to wake up out of my sleep, because like I said, I fell asleep with the TV on, so it was louder than the TV for it to wake me up. Boom, I'm up, and I'm over here. I mean, call me a chismosa, call me whatever, but I mean, I'm in my room and I can hear everything going on, so that's not my fault. And you woke me up, so that's definitely not my fault.
Mhm.
As I'm hearing her, I'm hearing this lady talk about some. I told her everything was going to be fine as long as she's not messing with my family. She's ungrateful. She goes on to say, like, oh, if her mom and aunt loves her so much, like, why isn't she with them? Oh, that's right, because they didn't fucking want her. So I'm sitting here, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the tough G in me wants to be like, oh, for real, right, and I'll go off. But inside of me, I'm gonna be very vulnerable and just say, like, every word I heard come out of her mouth felt so disappointing. Like, in my head, it's like, don't do this. Like, as she was talking, like, I was just like, don't, like, don't do this to yourself. Like, don't say that, because
Mhm.
you're literally in my brain. I categorize people, and it's just like, you're going down, and it's just like, uh yeah, everywhere she said it really did feel like, like, it felt like a
A
punch in my
letdown.
chest, where it's
Yeah.
like, you are like everyone else. Like, I really thought that you were gonna listen to my mom, listen to what I was telling you, like, give me time, let me grow, like, let me be. And you're like, it just felt like it was just disappointment. After that, she was drunk, and I don't know what it was, but she was like, no, I can't be here tonight. She ended up, I don't know where she ended up going, but after that phone call, she didn't know this. After that phone call, I knew two things. You're either talking to your mother or you're talking to your sister. I was around both of them because that was her family. So in my head, it's like, okay, we got a snake here. We got a little fishy. Something's going on here. One of you guys are fake, and I knew that because she said like that she was gonna be there in like 10 minutes. I was like, those are the only two people that stay that close. So boom,
Mm-hmm.
she spent the night over there. Whatever. That night, because I already knew how the system was,
Mm-hmm.
I made a group chat between her husband that was upstairs knocked out. He didn't even know his drunk wife came and was talking mess about a freaking 17-year-old. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it is about these, but whatever. And I made a group chat with him, my mom, and myself, and I was like, look, there was a conversation I had last night, and we need to either my mom's gonna be on the phone, or I had said we need to have a conversation in the morning. Either my mom is gonna be on the phone, or I'm gonna have a social worker come so she can mediate this like conversation, because foster parents are so good for switching stuff around
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, there's no way I'm gonna let this lady do what every other lady has done, foster
Mm-hmm.
parent, and try to switch it and make me seem like I'm the
The problem.
aggressive and
Yeah.
I'm negative, blah blah blah. No. So he was a principal, the husband was a principal, and he was like, well, I can't, like, I have to go to school, like, I have a job. And he was like, but how about we talk about it when we get home? And he had agreed with my mom being on the phone or a social worker being there, and he didn't know what he was waking up to, right? I just sent that summary of like a conversation needs to be had, blah blah blah, blah, and I think I gave him a summary. After that, that morning, she's so lucky. That morning, I'm up, like I'm furious, and I go outside. I open my door, and it's the living room, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
see her kids there getting ready for school. I'm keeping it cute for the saint, for the saint, for the sake, yeah, for the sake
Sake.
of your children. I go outside. I'm on the phone with my mom because she was in that group chat. She didn't know what was going on, and I'm basically telling her. So I'm reliving the night before, and I'm telling her what I heard. And one thing about me is like, I work hard for what I have, the accomplishments that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mentioned before about in like the DV relationship that I had a scholarship program. She was the one to inform me about this scholarship program, but I was the one that did the interview, and I was the one that sat there and had to meet with the requirements on all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were doing that because, like I said, she was very good for, yeah, we're helping her out, like, or yeah, she's coming around, and oh yeah, she's doing good. She's in a full ride scholarship. She got accepted to. Like, she was very good at making me feel like empowering me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you did that for yourself. So now when I'm hearing her sit there and be like, she wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for me, and like I said, I've never been one. Don't ever hold anything on top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of what you said about my mother and my aunt, now I'm hearing you sit there and say basically that I wouldn't have these things if it wasn't for you. And all this mess. So I'm telling my mom, and my mom's telling me, like, just calm down. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this outside, so I come back in when I see her kids leave, or I'm walking in as her children are leaving.
Mm-hmm.
She's sitting on the couch with the freaking messy bun and everything. So I look over, and she looks over at me, or I look over at her. Basically, she basically says, like, are you ready? Like, do you want to have the conversation now? I was so ready. I was so ready. And so I was like, well, I'm going to call my mom so that she could be like on the phone. And oh, no, no, no. I think I had skipped over that because I was so upset. I was just ready to let her have it. So I basically told her, I was like, yeah, I heard everything you said last night. I was like, you woke me up out of my sleep. And what is this talk about you talking about my mother and talking about if they really love me, then I would be with them. I have never been a disrespectful kid.
Mm-hmm.
I have never, as much as they say I talk back, I really wasn't talking back. I was literally, he said he was going to give me time after, he wasn't. I was arguing with him because he was being unfair. But besides that, I've never yelled at anyone. I've never put my hands on an adult before. I've never been moved because I got into it with a fostered kid or the foster parent. Never.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But at some point, Buki, you don't talk about my situation, or like I said, like my biggest thing was what she had said afterwards. Like I had told her what I heard,
Mm-hmm.
and this lady, she's gonna turn around so nonchalantly and say, "I'm sorry that you heard me last night." but I'm not sorry that I said it. So you want to go. So you want to talk about mamas. Like, that's how I was feeling in the moment, because I was like, there's no way. Like, so then what are you apologizing to me for if you don't mean it? What are you, like, when she said that, like, I remember I was just pissed. Like, I was just like, okay. And I was like, and what makes you think that you can sit here and say that about my mom if she didn't love me, if she didn't care about me, if her or my aunt didn't care about me? Why aren't I with it? Oh, that's right, because they don't fucking want me. That's her exact words. So I said it back to her, and I was like, so what you know about that? Like, who are you to say that? You don't know anything. This is when she gets a little bold, and she goes on to say, well, I know your story. I have access to your records, so I know things that you probably don't. What things do you know that I don't? That my mom chose drugs over her children, that she chose men over her children? Baby, that's not new to me. I lived through that. But here it goes again, her using that over my head and trying to make it seem like I have the right to, because I know your story. No, you don't. So after that, I remember I was pissed. And I was so over it. And I remember, and this is why I said I was never one to do that, but I remember I got so close to her face, sister. Like, I was damn near yelling and spitting in her face, but I didn't care. Like, honestly, if she wanted to go there, like, I was just, like, my adrenaline was so, like,
pumped. Yeah.
because it's like, wow, like, just wow, like, you really, I'm sorry that you heard me, but I'm not sorry that I said it, because I have the right, because I was your worker, and because I knew or read, because that's what you did. You read my story. You were never in it. You never knew my story.
Dang.
So let's talk about it. So after that, I had gotten a little aggressive, and at that point I was like, so what you want to do? So are you gonna kick me out? Like, what are we doing? And basically she had said, like, if it's what I wanted to do or something like that. She basically left it on me. And I was like, all right, bet. So I told her, I was like, well, if you want me to pack, I can do that shit right now. Like, what do you want to do? And then I remember her too, because she was acting so boldly about mom. And I'm sorry, mom, that I was going to put you into this, but not really, because I feel like you would have, hopefully you would have stepped for me. But at that moment, when I had brought up the whole mom thing, and she was acting real
bold.
Yeah, boldly, and saying like, oh, I have the right. I was like, okay, so do you want me to call my mom right now and you can tell her what you just said, that she don't love me? Oh, let me hear her go off on you. And so after that, I had gotten up and I was like, oh, all right then. And I went into my room and I was just so pissed. I remember I was so pissed. And I just, like, knocked out. I woke up in, like, the afternoon to her husband coming home from work. I guess he, like, left as soon as school was over, which is rare because he would come until, like, 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And he was like, oh, come on, we're gonna go see Cruella. It was on theaters. And low-key, I was still, like, in and out of sleep, so I had low-key forgot what had just happened. I'm getting dressed, and we're walking out of the door, and it's him and me, because he's gonna lock the door behind me. And he's like, you know, we all make mistakes, right? And that's when it all hits me, and I'm like, oh, that's why I was on the floor, because I was mad, and I ended up knocking out, and now I'm waking up, and you, okay. So now I'm in the car, but I'm already dressed, and he locked the door behind me, so I was like, I'm basically going, but for the sake of the kids, because now they're present again, I was quiet. But what my mouth doesn't say, my face does. So after the fact, ooh, and I was getting inspiration from Cruella, because, you know, she be having her little evil side. So I was like, ooh, okay. After the fact, I remember he was trying to pull me aside. And he was basically like, oh, I just want to apologize for her actions. I was like, she don't care. Did you hear what she said? Because like I said, there was a camera in the living room. Remember that. So he more than likely logged in, seen it, or she showed it to him, whatever. He knew what was going on. And he was basically like, oh, like, you know, she doesn't mean it. That's not what she said. And following that, he had said the whole thing about, like, mistakes happening. Oh, and then he gives me a letter. He was like, she wants me to give you this. She feels really bad. And I don't know when that letter was, but I think that letter was I don't know. He basically told me that she felt bad, blah blah blah. I want to say 2 days later. I rarely was speaking to this lady. I didn't see her. I wouldn't even eat dinner. Mind you, we were all like family dinners and all these things. Oh, bless you. And it was also around my birthday. Around that time, and this is when she kind of knew like I was serious. They had already bought me like gifts and a cake and stuff like that. And the least thing that I wanted for my birthday was to be celebrated and be like just the thought of imagining this woman holding a cake, smiling in my face, wishing me a happy birthday after she just got caught saying all of that.
Yeah.
And when she had the opportunity to apologize as
She
an
didn't.
adult, she
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
She did, but she didn't. And then had the audacity to be stuck in her room crying like I did something to her.
Yeah.
So I told them, they were telling me like, oh, so we already ordered the cake, like, and I was like, you know what I want you guys to do for my birthday? Act like it's a regular day. Don't celebrate me. Don't say no happy birthday to me. All your gifts, I hope you have the receipt. Return them. I don't want anything from you guys. Like nothing. I don't want
Yeah.
nothing. I don't want you. Like literally make it like a regular day. Don't even sing happy birthday to me. Like that's fine. But because of their kids and their kids were excited, I don't know what the thing was, but basically they sent me to Knots, X, Y, and Z. And I want to say that day before I left, she gave me this sorry ass letter, basically saying how she feels like shit, that she feels like a terrible human being. And honestly, I read that and I was like, as you should. You did it to yourself. I literally gave you an opportunity to speak as a woman, as an adult, and you didn't care. So
Yeah.
why should I care if you're over here hurting? I'm glad you are. I hope it hurts real bad. Like I hope you learn from this, because she was also one of those people, like your foster dad that we'll get into in another episode. Very Christian, very godly. I do everything right. I'm helping this foster child.
Yeah.
It was grown. So those are my negative experiences.
It just goes to show like the different foster families, like just hearing like that one was such a good way to end it because it was so big and so major. And like
Mm-hmm.
I think the moral of the story for these videos is to just show like kids are listening, foster
Mm-hmm.
children are listening, your actions are being watched by your foster youth. You're letting them know whether you truly care about them or you don't. Like everything is being logged in. And also be respectful of the fact that like if someone is telling you I don't feel okay with this right now,
Mm-hmm.
respect their wishes. It doesn't mean that they won't ever get there. It's by their timing, not yours.
Yes.
Their timing, not yours. So and just don't ever get caught. If you're drunk and you are angry at your foster youth and you're over here knowing you're gonna say some hurtful things, stay at the bar and say those hurtful things to a stranger. Don't ever get caught where your foster youth could overhear you saying these horrible things about them over the phone, because right then and there you cut that bridge. They might have started to slowly start to build their way. The moment they hear you talk stuff about them, like the bridge was burned, and not from their end, your end. You burned it right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
So don't ever do that stuff. Don't ever, just don't. And just be mindful, foster parents. You have so much impact. And like I said it in our first video, if you do not have the heart for this, because us as youth with trauma will push you and keep pushing you and push you away, because that's all we've known. The moment someone gets close to us, they hurt us, they disappoint us, or they leave. So we're going to push and push your buttons to see how long you will stay. So if you can't take that, if you can't overlook the fact that we're just acting out of hurt and
Mm-hmm.
trauma, this job isn't for you. And it shouldn't even be considered a job. This role isn't for you.
Yeah.
Being a foster parent isn't for you. There's the door. No one's telling you to walk through it.
Mm-hmm.
Close it. Leave it closed. Don't open up a window. Leave it closed. Let a person who truly has the heart for it take in these foster youth, because it's not about you. It's not about you. Our pain isn't about you. It's just we've been hurt so many times that we want to have that resistance. And don't be forcing things on us too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The family pictures, no. It's our timing. We will slowly open up. So,
Well,
yeah.
this was a really detailed, good, good,
Oh,
good,
and I feel
good
like I got so
podcast.
much of the feeling, the emotion, the explaining. You did so well to portray that, and I felt like I. And fun fact, quick little side note before we end: a foster mom Jay was your social worker, but she was also my social worker. So two different, completely polar opposite experiences. Um, but now hearing just like the things, it's just like, man, I have a different point of view for her.
And
But
that's okay.
but even then, like, just hearing, like, I want to throw something at her, like, I want to be I wish I would have overheard those things.
And it was so bad to the point that even mom and Aunt T were thinking that I was lying until I was on the phone with Aunt T, and Miss J walked into the room and heard her the way she was talking to me about, like, you shouldn't be talking to your family, like, unless it's about visitations. And I was like, it was. And like, she recorded, or the other Aunt M recorded me and Aunt T's conversation, and that's when they realized, because for a moment they low-key thought I was over exaggerating,
Yeah,
and I was like, no.
that's why I say, like, I wish, like I said, I always say God only knows why I wasn't there for those conversations, because I wish I would. I wish she would have tried that right then and there and said my mom didn't want me. And I just, again, I'm gonna end with this. I love the fact that you said she read my story. She doesn't know my story. Remember that. Foster parents, social workers, counselors, parents, principals, anyone who interacts with our foster youth, you read their story. You don't know their story.
So don't act that way, because that's another trigger for us. Like, don't. And that's another thing, if you've never been through something similar, don't say you know what we're going through. No, you can only understand, like, you can only imagine what we're going through.
Words are powerful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your triggering
You too,
stories.
sister.
And this was so wonderful, and I'm so excited for them to hear it, because this was so powerful.
A lot of funny moments, a lot of tea spilled, but most importantly, I feel like those that have the power to change, to change the system little by little, whether you're a worker, a counselor, whoever it is that's watching that is surrounded or works with kids, like, I hope these stories isn't just for the information or like the entertainment purposes, but like
Also educational.
yeah, like these are things that we are struggling with.
Yeah. And it doesn't just apply to our foster youth, it applies to every youth who's struggling out there on probation, who's lacking, running away from school. Again, I'm going to reiterate, you read their story, you don't know their story, and really you want to understand them, understand the root of the why. Ask the why. Don't just assume. So, until next time.
Yes, we'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.